Here we are seeing Spectrum Mobile 2.0.
Now we have our Maharishi, right?
Yes, yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay. Be blessed by the divine. So we are going to talk about mirror gazing, how it works and how you do it and what are the benefits. So mirror gazing is a biomagnetism intensification exercise. Right, so we have seen before from our sky, there are two practices given specifically to intensify the biomagnetism. One is lamp gazing, the other one is mirror gazing. So why do we need to do this? That's the first question, right? So biomagnetism is the source of energy for every physical activities and mental activities. And what is magnetism also, we know, right? It's the static state. From static state, we have the dynamic state in the energy particles, right? So that rotates at a very high speed because of the constant surrounding force from the static state. And a spreading wave that comes out, right? Anything rotates, and when it rotates, a spreading wave that comes out, that merges with the static state again, right? Because it is spreading wave. When it is rotate itself, right, in itself, that is when or the energy particle, then it stays, right? Because it is rotating itself, it has occupied a space. But when the spreading wave comes, it just goes in a huge speed and like it doesn't occupy a specific space, right? It goes all over the universe and eventually merges with the static state. So when it merges with the static state, in that state, that is what we call it as a magnetism. So it differs, right? That's what we call it as a magnetism. And magnetism, depending on where it happens, it can be felt in different ways, right? So to understand magnetism in a better way, it is push and pull force. When something when the energy particle rotates, when that spreading wave, it is like a force away from it, right? But then you have the force that is always surrounding force, and the static state has always the self-surrounding force, right? So that both push and pull, right? That is felt as pressure. That is magnetism. So when this magnetism, right, when the energy particles rotates, when it is done in the space of where like everything is energy particles, it hasn't formed into the other Panchabhutas, right? Then you feel that as pressure. Similarly, when that biomagnetism, right, and the spreading wave, then the magnetism, not the biomagnetism, and the magnetism happens in the air medium, right? Air is where the energy particles are further together, right? It's like hydrogen, the light air, right? Where when the density is slightly higher than the normal pure energy field, right? Then there you felt it as that magnetism is felt as sound. Similarly, in the thick air, in the oxygen, right? I mean, in the fire, right? The magnetism is felt as light. When it goes further in the solid things, right? But before solid, in the water, the molecules are very dense, right? So even the magnetism that comes out, it can't easily come out. It gets stuck, right, inside that. Some part might come out, but mostly it gets stuck within the liquid itself. So that becomes, instead of like in the both case of air and the fire, it was the magnetism or the pressure, it was converted as electricity, right? In the case of water, right, the fluid, because it is getting stuck inside it, it is not, it's not really spreading away, right? Within the liquid, it is getting stuck. So that becomes, it's a chemical reaction in this case. So that is felt as taste. Similarly, in the solid, it again gets stuck within it, and you feel it as smell, right? There also it is a chemical reaction. In the case of electricity, it just spreads, it merges with the static state. So you felt it as sound or light. And eventually, right, so the whole universe, right, it's all made up of these Panchabhutas. And mainly it is the first one, right, where it's just energy particles. It is not even, air field is very limited, right? If you maybe 15, 20 miles above the earth, then after that it is like pure energy particles, right? And it's always spreading, spread waves, and the whole universe is having the magnetism. So we call it as universal magnetism. And within the body, right, within the body, we have the energy particles. We are also made up of Panchabhutas. And within the body, we have the energy particles that is giving the spreading waves that becomes like merges with the stat within the body itself. That becomes magnetism. That's since it is circulating within the body, it is not going out. It is called biomagnetism. So that's the source of energy. So that gives you the pressure to do all the activities, everything, right? So that is the source of energy. And that in the living beings, it is also act as mind, right? It's sensing capability. That biomagnetism waves, biomagnetism, right? The mind itself comes out of the magnetism, right? So that is, it also senses, right? So for everything, the source of energy is magnetism. So in this living beings, it's biomagnetism. So that's, so to the physical health, mental health, to improve the health, what we need to do, we need to increase the biomagnetism. So there are many ways. I mean, just by regulating your activities, you can improve the biomagnetism. You are watching too much TV, you are doing too much work. By regulating it, you can definitely save biomagnetism. In meditation, what we do, see all the different, even within the body, right? It creates different kind of waves, right? You have pressure waves. I mean, like the light waves, right? The sound waves, everything. We all have. We are also made up of Panchabhuta, air element, fire, water element, everything is there. So all the different kind of waves, it always goes through our the five sense organs, right? The taste is through the tongue, through the light waves goes through eyes. So constantly, some part of it goes away. Majority part is getting used within the body and the mind, right? So during meditation, what happens? We are stopping the activities of the sense organs and focusing on the source of where this, like the place where it originates, right? If you look at the Ajna Chakra, so it's an energy center. All the glands are energy centers. So that is where the concentration of energy particles, right? So when you, and the magnetic waves are coming, the waves are coming out of that. So when your mind is focused there, it is like a loop, feedback loop, taking it to the source, right? Where the magnetism started from the energy particles, the intensified places are in the chakras. And when you meditate there, you are actually taking that energy back to its source. So you are unstopping the sense organ activities, right? Then automatically you are increasing the biomagnetism. Now for everything, right? For any health, everything it is biomagnetism, right? I mean, when body needs to fix something, you need biomagnetism. When you want to think about something, you need biomagnetism. So for everything, it is biomagnetism. So that's where Maharishi, not only meditation and we have Kaikalpas and exercise, everything, right? It helps to save the biomagnetism, to save or increase the biomagnetism to a certain way. But Maharishi has given other exercises as well to increase it many folds. So those are the biomagnetism intensification exercises. So let's talk about the mirror gazing, right? So how does it work, right? One thing that we have to understand is that the whole universe is filled with magnetism, universal magnetism. And the other thing that we all need to know is that fraction demands and totality supplies. So whatever is needed, right, by anything, any living being or anything, right, in the whole universe, that is being supplied by the totality, divine state, right? So similarly, right? So what we when our body needs when in a particular state, right? So when we need biomagnetism, the totality supplies, but we need to make ourselves ready for that, right? So during this exercise, what we do, so in the mirror gazing, what we do, so I'll explain about this, how you do, but what we do, we are looking at our own image, right? So far, we have been taking so when you look at something, right, you are actually taking that shape, right? You are actually looking at that characters. So your mind is actually, your mind or sense organs are spending energy to get into that shape and characters and everything, right? To absorb those characters and all. That's how it gets stored. If you look at an elephant, you are actually taking an shape of that elephant, right? During using your eyes. If you look at your eyes, you will see a small size of that elephant. That image is kind of stored. So basically, your mind is taking that shape. But when you look at your own image, you are taking the shape of yourself, right? And you are not spending too much of energy in that case. So when you constantly look at, you are looking at your own image, and in that case, you are using from the eyes, right? There is some energy that is spent, right, to take that shape. But then some energy is spent. Then when you close the eyes, as part of the exercise, you also close the eyes after looking at your image for a couple of minutes, right? When you close your eyes, the universal magnetism, because since you have spent some energy, right, the universal magnetism tries to fill that void, and it comes in huge amount, and you are actually increasing, stores, it gets into your body, and you are actually storing more biomagnetism energy, and maybe more pure, right? Because the universal magnetism should be more pure than our own magnetism, because ours has been used for all the activities. So that's what it happens. You are spending it, you are creating a void, and that gets filled by the universal magnetism. So that's what happens. In the case of lamp gazing, you are actually spending your, you may know already, you are looking at the lamp and the light, right? Small light. When you are looking at it, you are spending your magnetism is spent, right? You are looking at it, that light. then when you close your eyes, you are actually like the universal magnetism gets filled within you, right? Mirror gazing is a lot better. The reason is that you are actually taking just the image, looking at your own picture, so that the expenditure will not be that much. Lamp gazing, you spend some more, but you still gain a lot. So mirror gazing is always is the better one than the lamp gazing, but both have their own benefits as well. Now, so maybe like in the lamp gazing, I think you can compare in the temples, right? This is my assumption. It's like they show the deepam, right? Deepam, and like we always look at the deepam. Like when you go to the temple, look at the deepam, and we just using our hands, right, palms. We just put our hands on above the deepam, and we try to put it on our eyes. So my understanding is that maybe when you close the eyes at that point in time, we are trying to. So when you look at the lamp at the temple, you are actually spending some energy. Then when you close your eyes, right, after with your palms in the temple, then you are trying to take the magnetism that is more highly filled, right, within the temple. We are trying to take it. So we are Maharishis. I mean, like it's not that that's from there, but I'm just giving an analogy from there, right? So that's how lamp gazing works. But mirror gazing is a better one, and you are actually looking into your own image. So your mind is not taking a different shape, so it gives better benefits as well. So this is the fundamentals. So we lose some energy. Then when you close your eyes, you are actually getting the energy filled. The universal magnetism gets filled within you. Fraction demands and totality supplies. So lamp and mirror gazing help absorb universal magnetism and convert it into biomagnetism. Okay. So how you so what do you do, right? Then like we will look at the things which are very important to look other factors, right? But how you what you really do is, so you sit in front of a mirror, right? And the mirror has to be specific size, 2 cross 1.5 size. I mean, like there are specific sizes. So you need to have that mirror. That mirror shouldn't be used for any other activities. You shouldn't be used for any of our regular activities. So you take that mirror. It should be clean and thickness. There is a specific thickness. So from our center, when you need mirror, I think through our center we will provide it. So you keep that mirror only for that specific purposes, right? And you have to wear a very simple dress, preferably in the uniform, right? White and white, and the ladies, there will be a specific uniform, right? Plain dress without any designs and other things, right? And better to keep the similar, like if you have shaved, right, on a daily basis. I mean, like you better, have the same image of yours every time you do this exercise. So you sit in front of the mirror like 3 to 5 feet away, right? Between 3 to 5 feet away, depending on your height. The goal is that you have to see the whole image in the mirror, right? And in the background, you shouldn't see anything. When you look at the mirror, only your image has to be. The background has to be, plain as well. So what you do as part of this exercise? So there are procedures. You do like you focus. So you do so always, right? You start with the purification of the surroundings, right? getting the energy, right? Then the Arut Kapu, right? So all those things you do, then salutations to Mother, Father, and Guru, right? Then slightly focus on your Ajna Chakra on the eyes, just to have the focus. Then you open your eyes. Right? It's not a complete opening, like half. You have to open like with half eyes, right? And it has to be like a very gentle look, right? Gentle look. You look at your whole image, right? Look at your whole image, or if you are not, sometimes you are not looking at your whole image in the mirror. You may look at your face, right? But whole image is that's the goal, right? And if you're just looking at the eyes, look at the both eyes. In case you want to look at one point, it has to be the right eye. But yeah, look at your whole image, the face to as the primary. So then what happens? And you have to have the constant. You have to constantly look at it, right? That's an half eyes open. You're constantly looking at your own image for about 2 minutes. So you don't twinkle your eyes, right? I mean, if you are feeling very bad, I mean, like instead of having the eyes twinkle it in its one way, like if you really want to do it, you may twinkle. I mean, if you're feeling you're not able to hold it constantly, but you have to do it on your own control. It shouldn't be that it happens automatically. So you look at it, what happens, your biomagnetism, right? To looking at your image, the biomagnetism, it goes out of your eyes, and it gets intensified. Right? You are looking at one single image, it gets intensified. And sometimes what happens is that you might, because it is so much intensified, right? It might even block your eyes, and the whole image may not disappear at all. That means your intensification has happened really well, right? And eyes, the water might come out. So you look at, so if the biomagnetism goes out, that gets intensified. Then after 2 minutes, you close your eyes and take your palms, right palm on top of the middle of right palm on the right eye, and so first you put the left hand, right, left palm on your left eye, and the right palm on right eye, and the fingers, right, slightly on top of the left fingers, maybe a couple of fingers, not the completely crossed, couple of fingers on the head, right, a couple of fingers of left hand, right hand is over the left hand, left fingers. So that's, so when you do that, right, when you do that, what happens? Well, when you do that, you have to look at inside your body. So you're inside the whole your body, as if like the magnetism from the universal magnetism is getting filled within you. That's the bhavana, or the that is what you call it as imagination, whichever. It's not the imagination. So you feel that, right? You look at your own body, inside your own body, the whole body, and as I think that the universal magnetism is getting filled. It gets filled. You can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel the energy, right? So for about 3 minutes, you look at your own body. So the biomagnetism gets intensified within your body. It gets filled through from universal magnetism to your body. Then again, you repeat this cycle for 2 more times, totally 3 cycles. So again, you open your eyes and look at your image for about 2 minutes. Then after that, you close your eyes, cover your eyes with your palms, right 2 fingers on top of the left 2 fingers on top. So this way, your whole body is filled with universal magnetism. It's converted into your biomagnetism. It gives huge energy, right? So this is what happens. When you close your eyes, you are observing the flow of biomagnetism all over your body, and it gets filled. In the practice, what happens? Your biomagnetism gets intensified. So mirror size, you look at the mirror size. So you can work with our center to get the mirrors for a cost, or sometimes if you have available, you may get it free as well. And when you sit, you have to sit on a mat or seat. It should not be on a floor. So about 3 to 5 feet away from the mirror. So there is a timing also, right? It's a biomechanism. It involves astral body and everything, right? So you want to ensure that even like hopefully no other energies, right? No other energies or souls are get attached, right? So that's why you do the Arut Kapu and everything, right? And you say, may the divine power protect us, guide us, and lead us in all our activities, right? Day and night, at all times, and at all places. Automatically, you are creating a safe ring around you, right? Even then, the bad energies are closer to the earth. Closer to the earth closer to the earth or within the earth in the evening times. The morning times, it is the good energies. So we don't ideally we just want the universal magnetism. So this exercise, so to avoid any risk, it has to be done in the morning time only, not in the evening time. So that has to be very, very clear, right? It has to be done in the morning time, and the best time is between 4:30 to 6, right? You can do till 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. But best would be like 4:30 to 6 is the best. 6 to 7:30, it's next to that, and between 4:30 to 4:30 and 7:30 to 9 is the next level. So 4:30 to 6 is the best that you may want to do this exercise. And as said, the dress has to be a plain dress, and the mirror has to be used only for these purposes. Yeah, and it can be done before or after the meditations, right? But only on Fridays, if you are doing it. Since it is Santi Yoga, it has to be done before the Santi Yoga, Santi meditation, not after the Santi meditation. Okay, and there's a question. So, which is the better way? So, whether to do the meditation first, then biomagnetism intensification, or which one should be done first, right? Even the physical exercise. Let's take all the three, right? But so whatever I say, it's the recommendations. But even if you, not the recommendations. It's what happens, right, when you do in a different orders. But like it's up to, even if you do it in a different ways, you might lose little benefit, but it is okay. Based on our timing and other things, we can follow the order that we want. So when you do the biomagnetism intensification exercise first, what happens? Your biomagnetism gets intensified, and when you do the meditation after that, the meditation would be better because you have more biomagnetism energy. The mind it can expand better, or it can focus better because you have more energy. Your mind has more strength, right? So meditation would be better. So what they say is, if you are just growing in your meditation, right, learning or strengthening your meditation practice, you might want to do biomagnetism before the meditation. But when you are already very experienced in meditation, you can go deep in meditation very quickly, where you are very good in meditation. Then you may want to do biomagnetism after the meditation, because the intensification, you will end up in more biomagnetism, right? Because the meditation itself would have saved, right? Some more. It might have increased the biomagnetism to a certain level from 2 to 4. Then the intensification exercise might take from 4 to 16, right? So you might want to do biomagnetism exercise after that. But most of us, I think it might be better we do it before the meditation. And the physical exercise standpoint, of course, timing is a difficult part, right? When you do the physical exercise very active, when you are active, automatically you are losing some biomagnetism. When you are rotating your hand or this, that, there is some biomagnetism obviously gets lost, right? So it's better we do the exercise before biomagnetism exercise or meditation and all. But if you have to do the biomagnetism exercise itself, like between 4:30 to 6, then planning to do the exercise before that, it is too early. So it is fine, but that's the. I mean, if you can do it earlier, that is still better. Okay. And similarly, taking bath. If you can take bath before the exercise, that is better. But if you are taking bath after the exercise for whatever reason, don't take the bath immediately. Take it late. So generally, it can be. See, earlier it has been said that you can do on a daily basis as well, or rotate between lamp gazing and mirror gazing. But you can. But to going forward, right? You can do like every other day as well. But the suggestion is now, like, you can do it for a week on the mirror gazing, right? You do it for a week. Then once in a week is also sufficient. But when you want to really intensify, you may want to do like for a period of time, like the one that we have started doing for 48 days, right? You want to intensify it really good. So you start going in the path very strong. You can really feel it when you do the exercise, right? Yeah, the energy level is definitely would be higher, and you will feel the energy. So you will just progress, right? Yeah, to be avoided during pregnancy and monthly cycles. So what are the benefits, right? So biomagnetism is the source of everything, right? When you don't have energy, strength to the mind is the cause of all the problems. So intensification of biomagnetism helps alleviate fear, tension, confusion, and everything. It improves the level of meditation. So, and when you want to, only when you have more, you can give it to others. So when you want to initiate some new aspirants, this exercise should be done before that. And when you are regularly doing it, you will have a high intensity of biomagnetism, and it helps in initiating new aspirants. Immunity increases. Obviously, it gives more strength, so your cells will have more energy. So facial charm and charisma that draw people to us develop. So they say there are, like, by the lamp gazing, right? Looking at the light, lamp gazing, you get facial attraction or mukhavasiyam, right? So when somebody looks at you, they have good thoughts about you. They get attracted to you. That's what happens when you do the lamp gazing, right? And they want to be aligned with you or not. So when you do mirror gazing, even when somebody is not looking at you, when somebody hasn't looked at you, but just talking to you or through phone or maybe just hearing about you, they will have a good opinion. Jagavasyam, right? That's what Maharishi says, because because of the intensified biomagnetism, and everything is connected, right? So automatically you get that attraction, Jagavasyam. And the one other thing that important thing that I forgot to tell is after the exercise, right? After you do the 3 cycles, we always say the sankalpas, right? You don't need to say all the things that we say after the meditation. The key thing you want to say is the first, right? By the grace of the divine power, I will enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, prosperity, wisdom, and peace. 3 times you can say that. After that, you might bless your immediate family members. That is fine. But the other, definitely you should have your own Suya Sankalpa, which you can say within yourself. So you want to achieve something. You want to get a specific job, or you may want to get a child or whatever, right? You might have any specific wish. You can say you should actually definitely do it after the biomagnetism intensification exercise, and you will have with the high energy that as we know, total fraction demands and totality supplies, right? At that time, when your universal magnetism is flowing into you, right? So when you wish, it tends to happen. So always after the biomagnetism intensification exercise, have something, ask for something that you want, and you can say it in your own mind. You don't need to say it loud as well. If there are others around. So Mugavasyam, Jagavasyam. So mirror gazing is Jagavasyam. Even people will talk about good things about you, even like far away, and they get attracted even without looking at your face. So ill effects of karma are eradicated. Obviously, like intensification of biomagnetism helps in everything. And astral body becomes stronger and develops the ability to expand well. So with the energy, our life energy, life particles body as well, the astral body also becomes stronger. And it cleans, right? You are actually giving away, as part of the exercise, you are giving away some part of your biomagnetism, and you are taking more from the universal, right? It's more cleaner energy. And fatigue it helps overcome fatigue. So those are the benefits. Be blessed by the divine. So, and a few more things are like the mirror. If you have only within your family, it's better to keep a mirror for you specifically. But if your family members want to use it and they have practiced it, it is okay to share, but don't use it for your regular activities. And similarly, like do it on a private. Don't do it when like others or your friends or some other family members have come, right? So because they might look at you and they might start doing without taking the proper precautions, right? You have to do it in the morning. You have to have the proper dress, proper thickness of mirror, all those things that they may not know. So do it private as well. And when you are doing it in a center, right? You may have to sometimes use some other mirror. That is okay to do it as well. And when you look at the image in your, like when you are like with multiple people, you are doing it in a bigger hall or room. So when you look at the image in the mirror, only your image has to be seen, not others. So that has to be clear as well. it's a blessing. I mean, like our Maharishi has given everything. So meditation, exercise, Kaya Kalpam. Then, okay, to all this, you want to have more energy, so take biomagnetism intensification. And you want whatever you want to achieve, yeah, just ask for it, you will get it. So everything has been clearly given by our Maharishi. So we just need to take it and use it for our benefit and others' benefit as well. Be blessed by the divine. Any questions?
Be blessed. Thank you, Aya, for explaining the basics of Mela gazing and walking us through the procedure, do's and don'ts. Well explained, Aya. Let us all bless our Sky Master, Arunadi Prabhaya, for this wonderful session. By the grace of divine power, Arunadi Prabhaya and family enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, wisdom, prosperity, and peace. Be blessed by divine. Now, participants can. You said something, yeah?
Nothing. Just okay. Any questions or any? Arulaya, there because this is a specialized thing. If you want to add anything, Arulaya. Okay, that is fine. Yeah, maybe Aya is busy with something else. Yeah. So, any questions? Anybody?
You can unmute yourself.
Yes. Walk forward, be blessed. Thank you very much, sir. It's a nice introduction followed by the mirror gazing. I do have a question. So you in the introductory speech, you said the magnetic strength is enormous in that water and the earth compared to other three elements, right? Basically, it can hold the water, the magnetic strength. So same thing in our body is made up of water and earth. So basically that 70% water and 30%, right? So that means whatever the energy we are occurring, is it going to be stored, or are we just intensifying it here? Because the same property should be hold good in our body also, as the blood circulation, water circulation is around the body, right? So just I want to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what I meant to say is the biomagnetism would be same. I mean, everything is made up of energy particle, right? When it rotates, the biomagnetism comes out. But in the field of air, the the spreading wave that comes out, it spreads all over the universe, right? Because there is nothing that stops. So in the water or the earth, it's the same amount of biomagnetism, but it gets stuck. It can go to a certain level out, but mostly gets stuck. So in our body as well, that's the reason, right? Our biomagnetism, it is spent through our physical activities. Some part of the waves are spent through the sense organs, right? But it doesn't fully go away, right? If it is just the air, everything goes away. So that's how the energy is. It's there. It doesn't get stored. It gets constantly spent, but it doesn't go away from the body just like that, right? Because you are blocked by your as separate. You can't go out with the outside of your skin and everything. It can't go to a certain level. It always goes out, but remaining is there. That's how our body functions and mind functions happens. But then the whole universe is completely filled with the magnetism, right? And it is a lot of them are unused magnetism, right? And maybe more intensified. We might take only the specific whatever. We may take some from air, some from food, right? Some from the radiations from the and the planets and the fissions from the atomic fissions inside the Earth, right? We take to a certain level, but universe is like completely because our body it's a separate organism, right? It doesn't take everything, pull it from the universe, but universe is completely filled. It's all open, right? So it's like an ocean. We are like a small pond, right? We are trying to take the water from the ocean to the pond. That's what we are doing as part of the biomagnetism intensification exercise. And yes, yeah, it doesn't. It is there inside our body. When you say in the water and earth element, right? That's how the biomagnetism stays within our body. Otherwise, it would be gone immediately.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I think if there are any more questions, we can take at the end. We can.
Thank you, Prabhaya, for this good session. I think now we can move on to the second session for today. I think we invite Houston Tyagarajanaya for Line Center Meditation explanation.
Yeah, I had sent the presentation to you, Aya. If you could present it, that'll be wonderful.
Just a minute.
Okay. It is in the email, the Chicago Masters or the other Chicago email, as well as I WhatsApped you. Whatever is feasible, we could download it and present it. Wonderful.
Downloading here. Just a minute.
Apology, if you have other activities, I can share the presentation as well. Yeah. When you have 9 o'clock, other things as well, right?
Anyway, I've got it by you can manage.
Yeah, do you need help?
Okay, yeah. What do you want? You want to share it? Is it okay? I couldn't hear.
Share, you can go.
Thank you, yeah.
Be
blessed, divine. Why?
Okay, I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hope you all can hear me well. Am I audible, yeah?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes.
Clear.
Okay. Everything is connected. I would like to start off with the word harmony. And I would like to draw an analogy from simple things we understand on a day-to-day life. Food. There are varieties of food. Let's take rice. How it comes to us. typically comes from stores. They procure from lengthy supply chain, perhaps from wholesalers, numerous agents, processors, producer, farmer. Farmer needs to prepare the land. The land has to be fertile with all good kind of microorganisms. And the earth, water, sunlight, air, Panchabhutas eventually. If everything goes well, depending on the type of rice, in about 90 to 180 days, you get to reap the benefit, that is harvesting the rice plant. But it doesn't stop there. The rice paddy is what you get after you harvest it. Then you need to process it a little bit so that the grains comes out of the plant, and you remove, you dry the rice to get rid of the moisture. Then you boil them, boil the rice paddies, and you process them to remove the hulls and the bonds so that you get a polished rice. Then comes to the numerous stations of the supply chain process. Then comes to the store, then to us. We cook them, it becomes a food. And it gives the energy as we consume them. Well, it's one of the sources. So this is a pretty complex web of supply chain management of just a handful of rice it takes, the route it takes. Similarly, for the upkeeping of the body, it is important to understand how we bring about harmony. And if you look at the body wholeheartedly, as a whole, it constitutes of three things: mind, body, and the soul. So when we say harmony, it's not just the body. Harmony between the mind, the soul, and the body. All three things help and will be the key to the ultimate wellness and happiness of the life that resides in us or in human. Therefore, it is paramount to understand the need to attain the balance in all these three things. Now, let's take a step back. And as the scientific thinking became more and more dominant, information multiplied, fragmentation began to occur within our knowledge system, and increased specialization meant that the fewer people only be able to see the big picture of feeling and sensing the aesthetic of the system as a whole. And we are so preoccupied with the thoughts to recognize it. When we say body, it is because of this prolonged dominant thinking and specialization, information multiplication. This fragmentation occurred, and we say body, we just look at the body. We don't look at the mind and the soul, which is also closely connected. So when we say we, it is the whole thing. It shouldn't be just the body. Similarly, the analogy we draw in the beginning, when we say food, it is not just food. It is not just rice. It is not the store. It is the entire supply chain, end to end, including the Panchabhutas. So therefore, we come to the term that harmony between the mind, body, and the soul is the key to our ultimate wellness and happiness. So in Nine Center, it is an ancient knowledge that is in our midst, hidden in plain view. A forgotten wisdom is a way to restore balance between the inner and the outer, that is mind, body, and the soul. Hence the term harmony. That would bring the ultimate wellness and happiness to ourself. Mind, body, and soul. So, in summary, this is between the spiral of change and the stillness at its core. Nine Center meditation is a technique redesigned, I should say, as it has always been there, but it is redesigned and formulated and simplified by our Guru, Sri Vethathiri Maharishi, in the system of simplified Kundalini Yoga. This technique enables the efficient functioning of the endocrine glands associated with these centers. Now, out of the 9, 7 are within the body and 2 are beyond. Those are the Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, Anahata, Vishuddhi, Agna, Turiya. These are all within the body, and that's what you see in the picture. Universal field and static state are outside. Now, the term endocrine glands we revert to here are closely associated with the 7 centers. Those are the reproductive glands, the adrenaline, pancreas, thymus gland, thyroid gland, pituitary gland, and the pineal gland. These are the 7 centers associated, or endocrine glands associated with the 7 centers out of the 9 we are going to talk about. The endocrine glands secrete hormones. We all understand what it is, which converts the biomagnetism into chemicals essential for the body function. Now, the location of the endocrine glands is called the chakra in spirituality. In spiritual terms, these are called chakras. Now, let us understand briefly these energy centers known as chakras. Chakras are, in biological terms, these are nerve junctions or wheels, which are the spiritual energy centers through which the vital energy is being taken through the energy channels up to the levels of proteins in the genomes, biologically speaking. These are known as the energy vortex because energy vibrates in these centers like a whirlpool. And that's how it gets its name, chakra. Chakra means something like a wheel. And because energy vibrates in those areas, so we refer to them as chakras. The spiritual as well as the physical health more depends upon the purity and the fullest extent of the vibration of the energy function in these energy centers. To relate to, in our day-to-day meditation, after salutation to God and salutations to Guru, we start with pranayama, nadi shuddhi. The name nadi is derived from the root nad, means motion. So nadi, or transporting the vital energy, which is a subsidiary of the creative energy called kundalini. It's an extension of it. So in nine-centered meditation, the kundalini is made awaken and pierce through these energy centers slowly and steadily to the ultimate realization, the truth, the origin. And that's why we do the nine-centered meditation. So if you look at this wholeheartedly, it is for our ultimate travel to reach the divine, Jiva Brahma Aikya. Next slide, yeah, please. Right. Now let us understand the 9 centers and the association between Panchabhutas. So Mooladhara, now we have seen 7 chakras out of these 9 that reside in our body, but they are closely related with Panchabhutas. Our Mooladhara, which is located at the end of the spinal cord, closely associate with earth in the 5 elements. Similarly, Swadhisthana, which is located about 4 inches below our navel point, associated with water. Manipuraha, which is closer to our navel point, associated with fire. And Anahata, the heart center, associated with air. And Vishuddhi, associated with Akash. Yeah, next slide, yeah. Now, we're going to understand each of these 7 chakras or energy centers in our body and its detailed analysis and association with its endocrine glands, and the technique, the meditation technique that we would perform on these chakras. So the first chakra is Mooladhara, which is located at the base of the spine, approximately an inch above the anus opening, between the anus and the goans. We meditate for about 2 minutes on this chakra. It represents earth in the 5 elements principle. Meditating on this chakra helps people involved in archaeological and geological work, earthly matters, so to speak. So I assume farmers would also fall in this category, where they tend to dwell with the land, the earth, more than others. Meditating on this chakra helps transform the energy, the mental energy, into physical energy, and physical energy into mental energy as needed. It increases the immunity and helps regulate the life energy that is circulating in our body. Next slide, please. Swadhisthana, the sacrum, where we found the adrenal gland. It closely associated with water in the 5 elements. Meditating on this chakra helps bring ESP, extrasensory perception. You can get linked with departed souls. It can activate more material-oriented aspects, what we call the pleasure principle. So that's why it is generally recommended not to meditate more than 2 minutes on this chakra. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next, Manipuraka, which is located close to the navel point. It is associated with fire. That means if you meditate on this chakra, your body temperature may increase a little bit. But there are benefits meditating on this chakra for a prolonged meditation. You would be able to do astral travel and able to acquire other extrasensory perceptions like clairvoyance, and able to get soul attachments with noble souls and other supernatural skills, meaning you'll be a doer on this one. So you want to get things done. You'll be more active if your energy gets more intensified on this chakra. Next slide, please. Yeah. Next one is Anahata, the heart center. It is associated with air in the 5 elements principle. It helps by meditating on this chakra, improve the mental strength, brings in enthusiasm, courage, and confidence. Now, it also brings in other ESPs, extrasensory perceptions. It can give you foresightedness, intuition, and optimism. It helps eradicate fear and inferior superior complexities. It also helps to alienate from material or worldly affairs. So this is kind of the balancing center that helps one to find a right balance between the physical world and the spiritual world. It also brings in courage. Next slide, Aya. Vishuddha is the center located about 4 inches above the pit of the chest. It's located what they call near the Adam's apple in the throat. It is connected with Akash. It brings in clear knowledge and reveals secrets of the universe. It helps reduce our mind frequencies, reduce the consumption of energy. That means you spend more, you spend less and achieve more, maximum utilization of the energy. And it helps acquire contentment, adaptability, broad-mindedness, and mental freedom, and increases the tolerance. Next slide, Aya. Next is Agna chakra. It is located between the eyebrows. It is technically not outside, it's actually inside, about the length of your thumb. If you were to go inside from the eyebrow center, inward. So that's where Agna center is located. Now, in simplified Kundalini yoga, we start off our initiation through the touches of our Guru's grace, raise our Kundalini energy to Agna first. I'll tell you the reason why after we complete this. But we all understand that it helps overcome material attraction. Basically, the sensory organs will be in control as we meditate on Agna chakra. It helps with self-realization, brings in more awareness, and particularly it erases agamya karma. And as we meditate on this chakra, it brings down our mental frequency, the CPS, cycles per second, to between 8 and 13. Next slide, Aya. Next is Turiya. It helps to be one with the life force. It is located at the crown of the head, as you can see in the picture. It brings about intuition, secrets of the universe revealed. Helps acquire mental skills and acuity. It helps eradicate prarabdha karma, and your mental frequency will continue to be 8 to 13 CPS. Now, back to the reason why our school of thought system starts with Agna chakra, and Agna, Shanti, and then Turiya, and then we do Turiyadhita, and then we will do ninth center. So the reason is, as we have seen in the details, each of these energy centers tend to acquire certain properties that if we are not aware of, that is, if we do not have awareness, we will lose ourselves in that center or in the benefit of those centers. So those are required to bring in harmony for the whole, but we do not want to get ourselves stuck in the chakra. And that is why we first bring the awareness. So this is a strategical thinking by our beloved Guru, Sri Vedatri Maharshi, that we first bring in the awareness by raising our Kundalini energy through to Agna and Turiya, and then to Turiyadhita. Then we know the ultimate path, the ultimate goal is to attain realization, the truth. And therefore, then for the upkeep of the body, we still have to use this body as a platform. And we need to have the right balance biologically as well as spiritually. And therefore, time to time, we do meditate. We do ninth center meditation time to time. So this is the reason why our system first gives Agna, Turiya, and Turiyadhita, and afterwards they will teach the ninth center meditation. All right, so now we have seen so far 7 centers that are in the body. Now, next, we are going to look at the centers, the 2 centers outside our body. Next slide, Aya. Okay. So this is the 8th center, energy center, meditating on this universal field called Shakti Kalam. The mind functions at a frequency of between 4 to 7 cycles per second. And it's called the theta wave or theta state. Next slide, Aya. So this is the entire universe as a globe. Shakti Kalam. Next slide, Aya. All right. Now this is the 9th center. We all know this as the static state, where mind comes down to the very low frequency of 1 to 3 cycles per second, called the delta wave or delta state. The equal in origin, Jiva, Brahma, IQ. So it doesn't matter where we start. This is where we will end, for sure. Although ninth center meditation takes a different path, but our ultimate destination is the divinity. Let's look at the summarized view. Next slide, Aya. There you go. So in our system of thought, we first bring in the awareness, and then we meditate on these 9 centers to strike the right balance to obtain harmony between mind, body, and soul. And in that process, without deterrence, we will reach the ultimate goal to obtain the ultimate realization. Next slide, Aya. Right, so we now come to the benefit section. It helps transform the excess spiritual energy into physical energy, because of the association of the 5 elements and the endocrine glands that we focus on. We strike the balance between mind, body, and eventually the soul. It can also help bring extrasensory perception. You could, oftentimes, we have seen in Vedatriya, read others' thoughts. And you could be able to do astral travel. It helps eradicate fear and brings in courageousness. Knowledge of Akash, the universe, is revealed. And importantly, it prevents akamya karma and eradicates prarabdha and sanchita karma. Mind broadens to the vastness of the universe, and eventually helps with the soul to be with the divinity. Next slide, Aya. I would like to recite Vedatri Maharishi's poem. And if you look at the ultimate goal of this meditation technique, it is, in a way, Triyadita, to obtain samadhi. Therefore, I would like to recite this song first in Tamil, and then I will give the explanation or translation in English. Be blessed by the divine. இறைநிலையோடு எண்ணத்தை கலக்க விட்டு ஏற்பிடும் ஓர் அமைதியில் வெளிப்பாய் நிற்க நிறைநிலையே தானாக வருவதாகும். நித்தம் நித்தம் உயிர் உடலில் இயங்கும் மட்டும் உறைந்து உறைந்து இந்நிலையில் பழகிக்கொள்ள உலக இன்பங்களிலே அளவு கிட்டும். கரை நீங்கி அறிவு மெய்ப்பொருளாகும். கரைந்து போகும் தன்முனைப்பு காணும் தெய்வம். வாழ்க வளமுடன். Here's the translation about the equal in origin. Merging into the divine state, the ultimate destination of our soul is the divine state. The human consciousness should elevate itself to the level of becoming aware of its origin as the divine state. The mind can reach noble levels only when unnecessary habits and imprints of emotional thoughts are wiped out. To escape this, The mind should expand beyond universe and merge the static state. Be blessed with the divine. Thank you all. We can open up the session for question.
Be blessed by divine. Yeah. Very wonderful session, Aya, explaining the benefits and capabilities of each of the centers. So that really helped us understand all, and there are also the do's and don'ts and what benefits that we can get from each center is very nicely explained, Aya. Let us all bless our Sky Master, Aranidhi Tyagarajan Aya, for the session. Let us focus our mind in Sahasrara Chakra. By the grace of divine power, Aranidhi Tyagarajan Aya and family enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, wisdom, prosperity, and peace. Be blessed by divine. Varakaramdanaya. Participants can raise the hand and we are open for questions. Yeah, one question from my end. So these chakras, when we focus, do we focus inside our body, or which is it in the front side or back side? Where exactly do we concentrate? Yeah, because for all other places we get the touch from our asan or guru, and we will be able to feel that. How do we feel this center? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good question. Yes. So we know how we feel when we meditate on Muladhara chakra, right? So it is between, it is inside. Of course, it's not outside, but it is inside, closer to the end of the spinal cord. So it is between the spine and the outer skin, right? It's in between, and it's in between. In Tamil, we call it Eruvaikum Karuvaikum Edaipatta Bhakti. That means between the genetic center. It is in the genetic center, between the gland and the excretory gland. So same way as we raise our Kundalini, let's say Swadhisthana, it is, now we are saying the location is approximately 4 inches below the navel point. So you can, now that you are given initiation, you can use your index finger to touch that point, approximately that place, and give a small rotation. So it is actually inside, it is not outside. It is inside the skin, and it is between the outer skin and your vertebra, your spinal cord, right? So it is between that.
Okay.
Yeah. The gland is actually between that. Yes. So the adrenal gland is actually between that.
Okay. Thank you. Srinivas Kalkeya, you can unmute and ask the question, please.
Be blessed. Thank you very much, Aya. It's very well, nicely explained each and every part in a very slow and understandable manner. So this is a kind of complete making a meditation itself, that kind of depth you have covered. Thank you very much. Yeah, I do have a question. In the 9 center meditation, why that Manonmaniam is not included? Is there any reason, or is it automatically covered as part of the meditation?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I don't know why it is not covered. I would like to see if Arlaya could answer this question. Arlaya? Okay. Maybe if you have other questions, we can continue. We will, if not now, but we will get back to you on this. Yeah, I do not know.
Yeah.
Other masters, Balaji or
Yeah, one question here. So Mano Mani is a different meditation. Because the ninth center is 9 chakras, right? Yeah. So you have 7 chakras inside the body. Then the Sakti-kalam and the universal field and the static field is the 8 and 9. So Mano Mani, where does it come here? Yeah, Srinivas here.
So it is in the upper palate. When you fold your tongue and touch it, so it is in upper palate. So between your inside your mouth, where you touch your tongue, right? So there is a special meditation, Manonmani Tavam. So we start with Agna and Manonmani and Pidarik and the backside of the head, and then slowly we come down, right? So just I wanted to understand the reason behind that.
Yeah, in the all the scriptures, like not only in sky, right, in the outside as well, they always when it goes to 7 centers in the body, it is always the from Muladhara like till the 7th would be Sahasrara, right, the pineal gland, right, and 6th is you have the pituitary, right, Agna, Visuddhi, and Anagata. You have Manipuraha, Swasisthana, and Muladhara, right? So when it comes to centers, this is what they call it as energy centers, right? So in not only in our Sky Yoga, everywhere else. But Manonmani, yes, could be not details, but it's a special thing that need not include as part of 9 center meditation. It could be a separate one. But anyway, we will get more details from Arulaya. But when it comes to 7 centers of the body, those are the 7 centers that Tyarajaya explained.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, you mentioned it. These are the subcenters.
Yeah.
And Manonmani is not considered as the big ductless gland, which is contributing the major functions of the body. So Manonmani is also another gland, but not a major gland, which needs to be as part of this. So that's why it was also left behind, not only in 9 center, and it is also in the 9 major meditations we are still doing it. Manonmani is actually omitted because when you do pituitary or the pineal, this Manonmani is actually activated. So it's a very small gland, but that is a different one. That's another thing is in Lambika Yogam, Manonmani gets importance. And we do not practice Lambika. So Lambika is actually the height of Raja Yoga, the advanced stage, probably, I would say. And that Lambika Yoga cannot be practiced without the presence of the Guru, the physical presence of the Guru. And our Kundalini Yoga is not just Kundalini Yoga, it is simplified Kundalini Yoga. So anything more than simplification is not coming under our hood. So we don't practice those. So whatever is needed for the human life, actually just to live the life happier, that is all there. Lambika is not just happier, it is going further beyond. So that's why it's not included as part of our 9 center and also in our 9 meditations. Hope this helps. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Arya. So the Lambika is not the same as Manonmani, right? Yeah. So that's what. So both,
Yes,
both are touching the same thing, but it's a different functionality.
It is The same, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you know Lambika Yogam?
I just heard about it. I just
So-
holding the trunk. That's how I'm hearing it, because that's
Some
what
of
we do in the Kaigalpa
some of
also.
Right. Some of the meditations, they torture the human body. Means you're going through some sort of a pain process, which we don't practice in ours. So I don't want to go too deep into it, but because Lambika Yogam has to be practiced only in the presence of, with the guidance of the Guru. And it's better
Okay.
not to discuss furthermore in the public.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Warrior Arman.
Right.
And to add to, there are, from what I've read, there are about 116 such chakras or nerve junctions in the body, out of which these are the 7 that are primordial to our journey. And that's why we've the 7 Adhara chakras, we call them, the 7 core ones. And as earlier said, there are other Kundalini techniques which could be more intense in certain aspects. But for our goal, this is good enough. And that's why it's simplified.
Yep.
Be blessed by the divine.
Thank you. Yeah, I do have another question related to the chakra, the energy center. So where is the source? I feel that source is coming because the nadi, that 72,000 nadis, right, going around the body, the life particles are moving around. So that's where the chakras are getting energy and creating a center, or is it something like when we are talking about a genetic center, so where you have the height and width, so where the height and width are meeting, that's where we are calling it as a center. Whereas for so if you take blood, so blood is all over the body, it is going through, so it is still in the center of the body, right? So when you go to the heat, still the heat is going around the body, but still a little bit away about your genetic center. So as the chakras moves, I can feel that the air circulation is in the lungs. That's why the air chakra is in the between the heart center. I just want to understand on the Vishuddhi, the wind energy particles are moving around the body, still it is above the neck, right? Or it's on the neck. So how the centers are formed?
Okay, so your question is how these centers are formed or the other sources of energy. So fundamentally, the sources, the energy is all over the body, okay? But the intensity, depending on how we utilize the energy, resides in one of these chakras. For example, our genetic center, where the life force intensity and the biomagnetic intensity and the SVF, the sexual vital fluid, are all there, right? For the upkeeping of the body. Now, although we get the energy from food primarily, but that's not the only source. We do get energy from air, constellations, and Earth, the middle of the Earth, through atomic fusion, get them. So there are 3 other sources, and probably more in a subtle way. But this is how our body gets the energy, and it doesn't retain it. It is a continuum. It obtains and spends and obtains and spends and so on. It is a cycle. So to your question, how these energy centers are formed. So biologically speaking, these are nerve junctions, and spiritually speaking, as our biomagnetism started flowing upward, because the upper you go, the lighter it gets, right? The bottom you go, the heavier it gets. So these senses or these centers were formed according to its nature, is what my understanding is. When we were discussing about the middle chakra, which is anahata, which kind of strikes the right balance between the spiritual world and the physical world. And as you go down the Manipura, Svadhisthana, and Muladhara, you tend to acquire more worldly things. And if you think about it, right, the properties that you tend to acquire, for example, if your energy is circulating in Muladhara, obviously, that's where a reproductive system is, right? And if you think about it, the pleasure-seeking principle tend to acquire from there. And if it is in another place, right, it wouldn't be possible for our body function, right? It cannot be possible. So similarly, the endocrine gland, which is pituitary, right? If it is in some place else, it wouldn't be possible to control all the other senses. If you think deeper. Again, this is purely my understanding. I'm open for other masters' explanation too. But in principle, the higher you go, the soul gets, it is detachment, meaning from the worldly things. It is not to detach to open itself and go out of the body, but it is to a higher state of consciousness. So its ultimate aim is to contain and be with the divinity. And because divinity is everywhere, it wants to be everywhere. It just don't want it to be in the body and stuck with these, right? And stuck in an endless cycle of birth and life, birth and death cycle. So it wants to go to better places. That's my understanding. I'm open to others' explanation also. Peace be blessed by the divine.
Nicely explained, yeah. Covered.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nicely explained.
Did it answer your question, Aya?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, definitely. As that energy particles, even the energy particle gets lighter and brighter as it move up, right? So yeah, that is making reasonably understandable. Yes. So based on that, it creates a center, I guess. So definitely, it helps your answers. Thank you.
Thank you. These are all great questions, by the way. We have not encountered such questions. I have not, at least, and helps us provoke thinking. And on that line, on the same lines, our life force is actually, even though the intensity is in the Muladhara, and due to the gravity, the secretion of the SVF, as it comes down from the brain to the reproductive organs, to Muladhara. That's the very essence that helps hold the life force there. If it did not, eventually it will leave the body. And then just imagine where it goes. It goes up. It goes upwards, basically, against the gravity, because you will no longer have any holding. Therefore, the lower the energy comes, the better hold it will have. But at the same time, you tend to acquire more worldly qualities or material aspects. Is what my understanding is. Be blessed.
Thank you. So the energy also comes from our skin, right? So it's not only, so sometimes it's all over the body parts. We have energy openings, right? So even though we have Pancha Bhutas, Panchindriyas, right? So energy is not coming from the Panchindriyas, it's coming from the skin also, right? So as there are small openings where we sweat. So there also the energy could be acquired directly to the cells.
Absolutely, yes. So, however, our body needs to be in a receptive condition to process it. Imagine this way, you are intensely concentrating on your work and your, we call them selective deafness. If your wife yells at you or your kids yells at you, you don't bother. Or it's not like you are trying to ignore, but you're so intense. Unfortunately, that only happens when your wife talks to you. They make fun of us at saying he has selective deafness. Only when I talk to him, he doesn't get it. So same way, your energy is not receptive at that juncture. You're not that you're deaf, but your energy is spent elsewhere. It's not receptive at that point. Same way, even though our skin and pores on the skin are able to get them, but our core consciousness is not receptive enough. Meaning, if you're, let's say, before you go to bed, and if you go to bed with stomach full of food or something, then your receptivity is drastically reduced, right? So you need to have the receptivity to process it. As Aya said in the lamp gazing meditation, that you spend the energy and you multiply it. Similarly, even to receive it, you have to have an energy left. So if your energy is completely focused on digesting the food that you ate, then it wouldn't get more energy. So the receptivity will be drastically reduced. And whatever other sources of energy that you need to have will be reduced. So you're right. Yes, even through the skin, we will get the energy. We breathe through the skin, as they say. But if the receptivity isn't there, then we will not be. The benefit is reduced drastically.
Just to add, it's
Yes,
skin is also sense organ. Srinivas, your question, like skin is the sense organ which releases the pressure from the body.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my question of understanding is the energy centers, because when you compare the Vishuddhi, it is up the neck, right? So as the energy particles density get lower and lower, so it is kind of floating in the neck, right? But even though the energy is coming from all the sources, the Panchindriyas, including the skin, is also breath. So I'm just trying to visualize how the energy center is formed, why it is in the neck, even though the energies are coming all over the body. So just I'm trying to visualize anatomy of my body and see how these things are naturally formed.
Yeah, I think that I, as Tyagarajan explained, it's based on the dense things at the bottom, right? And the earth element is Muladhara chakra. Similarly, the water center is the Swasthana, right? So the chakra, when the energy, from the energy perspective, right? So similarly, in the fifth element is the fundamental energy particle. The center is Visuddhi in the neck region. So it's a it's a good question, but it's based on the density of things. How the center is formed.
Yeah. So if you were to imagine the Agna and Durya are the master glands, Agna chakra especially is the master gland that controls the senses, and when you come down, the Vishuddhi is the gland that controls all the other 4 organs or glands. Endocrine glands, meaning the secretion of the thyroid controls greatly your metabolism rate, right? Your digestion, the adrenaline. So everything else. So it is based on the secretion of the thyroid. If the thyroid is not functioning, then comes a lot of other problems, the autoimmune disease or digestion issue. Then you put on weight or you lose weight, and when it goes out of whack, out of balance. So and as it gets down, then comes in the evolutionary principle, from Akash forms everything else, all the other 4 elements, right? Akash, the wind, the atom or subatomic particle, forms other components such as the air, fire, water, earth, right? Similarly, Akash forms all these 5, and the just to associate, thyroid gland or the Vishuddhi chakra helps with the other core functions of the body, isn't it? So imagine your thyroid gland is out, then you're basically your digestion and hungriness, everything is out of whack completely. So that's why initially I said everything is connected. So you cannot function in harmony without one. You need everything, like a supply chain. If one goes out of whack, then everything is like a bullwhip effect, right? So if something is disrupted, then the whole chain gets out of whack.
And one more to add is the center, like Muladhara doesn't mean that it has only the earth element. Earth element includes all the other 4 elements as well. So that's why in the solid food, we think that it is only smell. It has the taste. It has everything. So when you go, but in the Visuddhi, it's all about pure energy. So that's, it's all based on the understanding. Yes, if Maharishi has given specifically about this, that could be something that we can find, and if we find, then we can share.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, because the reason is when I'm doing a meditation, Vishuddhi, I'm just trying to imagine everything is a particle, right? So the wind, the one fundamental particle, is made up of the God particles, the erythritol, right? So as it denser, it goes low in the lower spot, because we are adding 95% space and 5% of animals, the elements. So that kind of combination goes up. But when it comes to Agna, we are feeling the magnetism, right? But again, in the Durya, we are going to the God particle itself, the Yogan itself, right? So I'm just trying to visualize how come in between in Agna, we are feeling the magnetism, whereas there is a lower, as it gets lower and lower in the density, we are feeling the energy particle itself, right? The primary primitive particle itself. but the magnetism is coming there. Even that density should be lower than the primitive particle. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Thank you, Aya, for this explanation. We have another minute to join the USA-wide satsang. Aya, shall we conclude with this, Aya? If there are further questions, we will take it offline.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's conclude with blessings for the world. May rain pour on all parts of the world timely and sufficiently. May food grains grow abundantly to the satisfaction of all living beings. May the leaders of all nations progress in spiritual knowledge and do good services to humanity. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, happiness, and peace. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, happiness, and peace. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, happiness, and peace. Be blessed by divine. By the grace of divine power, all the participants and their families who participated in today's session enjoy good health, long life, enough wealth, wisdom, prosperity, and peace. Be blessed by the divine. Thank you all. Be blessed. With this, we are concluding today's session. Now we are joining into the USA-wide satsang. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.